Okay. This is the line of gold. You can see it pretty good, I guess. You can see all the gold. You can see all the gold has moved towards the top. Man, I ran into the table. Let's do it again. Only not running into the table. Move all the gold back down. That's not all of it. Some of it way the heck up here. Okay. Now we take the little vacuum jar. Plug it into the vacuum.
Look at that.
And the gold is clean. Okay. Let's take a look at this. I've adapted a PVC pipe to my vacuum hose. Goes into the jar. Get my fat fingers out of the way of the camera. Well, let me turn it on and show you. I have a solenoid in there. Tied down to the platform on one end. And it rolls on bearings. That little bump right there is just like when you bump your pan with your hand to make the gold climb up. This 12 volts. Well, 13.2 volts. This right here, it's a car relay. It's a 12 volt relay. Over on this side, there's a control box. This controls the shaker. And that controls the frequency. You want to go faster, slower, there's slower, there's faster. I can get going too fast. But that's the speed I like right there. 4 taps a second, 4 hertz. Over here is the frequency. I run it at 51%. Because if you run it too high, it puts too much load on that coil. And then the coil warms up. So, I ran it long enough to clean the gold, so I turned it off. Don't want the coil to get too warm. Now I could put a fan on it. Now underneath, there's another control box. Has an on-off switch and a dial. What that does is it controls the water. I can speed it up. Put a lot of water in it. Or slow it down till it's just right. And that's on the pump. Pump is underneath. It's a pump from an RV. 12-volt pump. But I wish it was self-priming. They have self-priming pumps. And then there's a reservoir. The reservoir here, of course I put a filter on it in case any debris gets thrown in there. Don't want that going up into your pump. Now the table, it hinges right here. And back over here, you can see this back there. That's an adjustment for adjusting the pitch. You can see the screws sticking up right, where are they? Right there, that little screw sticks up. So I've got it adjusted at, I don't know, what, 5 degrees? Somewhere in there. I haven't checked it lately. But I like where it's running. You adjust it up and down according to the size of gold you have. The smaller the gold, the flatter you want to go. The bigger the gold, the steeper you want to go. But that's about it. I built it clear so you can kind of see all the components. And it's just a spring-loaded steel shaft right back there. The spring is back here in the back of the tube. So when it pulls in, it hits the bump, driving everything forward. First time I did it, I had it backwards. It was driving everything downhill. But it was easy enough to switch around, so. And I got a pin in it. I can pull this pin out. I don't want it. And I'll be able to remove the bed if I ever need to clean it. And then there's the light box. All it is foam PVC. You can get that at Home Depot. And the light box is also foam PVC. And my battery's rechargeable. Underneath, I don't know if I'll be able to show you. I gotta get it wet. There's a couple LED lights underneath there. See if I can light them up for you. So it's just a couple of 3-volt batteries in there, 3.5-volt batteries, but they'll last a long time. I'd probably leave that light on for about a week. Let's see, 12.9 volts. Turn the pump off. 13. I can push that press to test button anytime it's running so I can check the battery. But how that works is explained in the next section of the video. That control box is real easy to figure out. I'll show you everything except for the meter there. That's just something you'll have to figure out on your own once you get going on it, and how it ties into this relay over here. That's the only thing I haven't got for you to demonstrate, but you can buy that down at AutoZone. Anywhere you go, any parts store will have that 12-volt relay system, or you can order it online. But you got to have a relay because you're running 12 volts, so it has to be a 12-volt relay. It gets a signal from the control box that's only 2.5 volts. That's enough to trigger that relay. Okay, I guess that's it for now. Okay, so inside a solenoid, it's just a plastic tube with a metal shaft in it. It's got to be a steel shaft. Now this isn't what I used, but it's basically the principle. It has to move in and out. That's got to move in and out of the solenoid. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so what is a solenoid? A solenoid is just a coil of wire wrapped around a heat-resistant core that's hollow. In this case, I'm using a carbon fiber tube that I cut out of the middle of a old arrow. They make arrows out of a carbon fiber tube. But the coil makes a magnetic field. One side will be north, one side will be south. Or positive and negative, depending on how you want to talk about it. Okay? Okay, this is my little toy solenoid, so I can illustrate how that works by using this little one. It's a little different, but we'll explain everything. Okay, next we'll hook in a little tiny solenoid into the MOSFET trigger. Okay, now what we have here, negative, positive, negative, positive, and it goes to this MOSFET trigger. Now, if I turn it on, it will blink at the same cycles that I had before. If I could turn this over, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can't see it, but it's 2 hertz at 50% duty cycle. Okay, so that's doing the trigger. Okay. And now you add 2 power leads to the other side of the trigger. Those power leads go to your 12 volt source, or in this case we're going to use the same 9 volt source. So you got to put those 2 in there, and on the bottom it tells you which side to use, which one's positive, which one's negative. Of course, going to the solenoid, it doesn't matter which side's positive and negative, because it's a basic electromagnet. Electricity can run through it either way, and it will still work. Okay, now in this case, I've ran it into the same power source. Voltage in, plus and minus. So you can hook them straight in with the source of the battery. That's going to drive this little MOSFET relay, or they call it a trigger, and it's going to run the solenoid. So let me set this up like this. I'd like to turn it around so you can see the little light, but I got to do this all one-handed. Alright, we're going to flip the switch on now. See, the little solenoid works. Solenoid's getting its power through the little MOSFET. MOSFET trigger. Real cheap little device. $2. Can't beat that. And this little PWM, as described, will, well, it's upside down and out of focus. But anyway, that's the basics on how that system works. Exactly the same circuit, only I'm using a lot more voltage. And I'm using a car relay because I'm using more voltage. Car relay, 12 volt relay. Because this won't handle the amperage. Okay, what we have here, I've got 9 volts here, 9.6 or something like that. And I have this little PWM that I just explained. I'm going to flip the little switch on. And as you can see, it's at 5 hertz. That means 5 times a second. Blinking the light. Now I can move that up or down. Let's move it down to 2 times a second. So that's this part of the components. And now it's important to remember, it says minus, plus, and on the LED light it is the same way. Minus, plus, going from right to left. Of course, everything's printed upside down for the purpose of this video, but if you pull out the LED light, Wasso, come out of there. Okay. You can see the short lead on LEDs is always negative, the long lead is positive. So in that, you have negative, positive. Just like you have over here, negative, positive. It's a good note to remember.